Since our last video, I have been teaching Tell all the necessary components for her to become an excellent driving pony. I have isolated, separated and then recombined them all. So first of all, I have taught her how to accept all the different parts of her harness, including her breeching and crupper, and then, last of all, her driving bridle. I then taught her how to do transitions on a circle, up and down from walk, trot and canter, so she gets used to maintaining a circle in both directions. So she has learnt to come off the pressure of the line to get release, which in turn will be transferred to when we drive her. So when I indicate with a rein, she learns to get off pressure and bend her body in the direction we are going. Often you see ponies raise the head and pull away into the opposite direction and looking out of the circle, which is incorrect. Because Tell has learnt she gets release when she bends and gives to pressure, which makes her a lot lighter and more cooperative to drive. Then I taught her how to do all this with the blinkers on. Of course, she can't actually see me with my body language as an indication, so then she has to learn the primary aid, which is my voice. So she learned to do the transitions up and down on the circle from my voice and without being able to see me. It is lovely to see how she nicely stands to be harnessed up at liberty, and she licks and chews to show that she's completely relaxed and no worries about she's doing the wrong thing. I don't know if you notice, but we've left the metal shackles on the end of the traces, which I will hook up onto the turrets whilst I'm doing the work online. The reason I do this is so she gets used to a noise for the metal banging about, so when anything bangs about when she's in harness in the trap, she won't be at all worried about it because she's been desensitised for noises behind her. In a moment I'm going to show you how she understands clearly what is required for her transitions on the circle online with her bridle on. I'm just putting the halter on now so I can attach the line. Whenever I do any work with Tell in the arena, I always leave my horses at liberty to come and go in the wood chip, so she's used to noises and movement, and any time they walk off back to the stables, she doesn't get worried at all because she knows that she's to concentrate on what I'm asking her to do. So again, it's all good practice for when she's out with other horses, or if she passes a field with other horses cantering about, she doesn't mind because she's used to the sound, even though she can't see them necessarily with a bridle on. Now I'm going to ask her to follow me to go and put the line on, and all it needs is a click and she'll follow me. Good girl. So far today I've asked her to stand still or I've asked her to follow me, but now I'm going to ask her to go past me when I'm stood still out onto the circle, Remember, she can't actually see me, so I insist and click until she gets the message, until she does the right thing, and then I'm quiet. There we are, off she goes. She just feels the line come into action there, and she goes, that's the size of my circle. So I stand nice and still in the centre so she can bend and follow the circle round. She's trotting nice and calmly, nothing rapid. I ask her to walk, and then I ask her to halt. Good girl. And she happily goes up to trot, and it's not rapid or worried, it's just a nice active trot. She's waiting for the next instruction, which is walk. Good girl. You notice she's not pulling the rope, she just has noticed the feel of the rope to check the size of the circle. Well done, Tao. Give her a rub, and then I shall redirect her. See how much easier she went onto the circle this time, as she understands this is what we're doing now, rather than her having to follow me. She calmly goes off. Also, you'll notice that once she's in a gait that I've asked her, whether it be walk or trot or halt, she doesn't need reminding. She knows she's to maintain gait, and if not, then I'll reinforce what I require. She's bending nicely around the circle, no pulling, which is lovely. And this is all done by the voice, and I think she's responding very well indeed. And halt. I'll just wait for her to connect with me and look at me, and then I'll come to her. Yep. There we are. Good girl. I'll take the rope off and then I'll click and she'll follow me. Now we're going over to collect our reins up, ready to get her ready for driving. Now she could have stayed there with our horses, but no, she's following me, which is excellent, knowing that she has no worries or fears of what we're about to do. Now we're all ready to put to, so she follows me at liberty over towards the trap. Nice and calm. I stop, she stops. I just line her up for the shafts, push her back, slight pressure on the chest, make her nice and square. Good girl. And now she's taught to stand still without being corrected all the time. Now normally you would have a groom stood at her head or to assist you, but my groom at the moment is being a cameraman, so it's a safe environment, so it's perfectly okay for us to do it how we're doing. And also it is a good way of testing that she understands the whole process and is not worried at all. If she was worried or tense or nervous about anything happening behind her that she can't see, she would have the need to move, but as you see, she's perfectly happy and relaxed, which is quite a tremendous thing for Tell. If you remember, she was always very cagey about anything round her back end, so I think she's doing very well indeed. Our horses are moving about in the wood chip, and Yolo's just got up from a roll I don't know if you can hear him having a snort, but she's quite okay about it. She knows to stand still and wait for me to do her up. If she was anxious as well, she would have her head held high and looking tight in her body, and then she'd be tight in her mind, but it's complete relaxation there. Now, when I go to get into the trap, she won't have the need to move at all, as she's been taught to stand still until she has the instruction to move forward. Notice even when I gather up the reins, she does not move until I instruct her to. Now that is a nice smooth pull away. There's no jolting from worry about noise or weight of the vehicle. This is only her first week of actually pulling the trap, so I think she's doing very well, as she has to learn to turn and trot at the same time. There is a slight slope on the arena, so it's quite hard for her to pull this corner here, as we have been doing our circles there. So it's a little bit bumpy and harder work for her. So I just reinforce and tell her to trot on, it's okay. And then she has to hold the trap down, back as she goes down the slope of the arena. So we are going to practice our transitions from trot down to walk, all from the voice. Good gal. And I will ask her to halt. Very good. And walk on. So she's having to pull up the slope here, but she manages. And off we go again. We have taught her how to drive one-handed in the coachman's hand right from the very beginning. And I hope you can see how light she is to turn. With a slight indication on the rein, no pulling necessary. And she bends nicely in the shape of the circle that she's going round. And then no resistance into the change of direction to circle the other way. Lovely. Well done, Tell. I shall now bring her round to a halt, and then Peter will have a go of driving her too. When I get out the vehicle, you'll notice she just moves her back legs so she can rebalance herself, so she can hold the vehicle back nicely. When I get out, there we go, good girl. And now it's Peter's turn. I think it's quite good for her to learn to be driven by different people right from the beginning, as everybody sounds and drives slightly different, so it gets her used to different ways, but the outcome is the same. You can see she's just as happy and understands the instructions. And here Peter will do another transition down. Very nice. Nice solid halt. She waits for the instruction to walk on. Good girl. And then there's a slight slope up the arena, so she has to really put her back into it, and you can see she's doing very well there. Gradually, the more and more driving she does, she'll build up the correct muscles. but she's still only very young. When you see her like this, you have to keep reminding yourself that she's only 3.5 years old, and 8 weeks ago she was a hairy, wild little pony that had no education at all. And it's very easy to forget that when you see how she's doing now. But I think she's doing very well, and next week we shall start taking her out to meeting the wide world out there and traffic, and be taking her through the village as well.
Trot on. Trot on.
And again you can see we've just passed Yolo, who's stood there watching all the time, and she's not at all bothered about the other horses, which is great. She'll just rebalance as Pete gets out. Again, your groom would normally go to the horse's head before the driver gets out the trap, but I'm busy videoing at the moment. But she's used to working in this arena, and there's no safety issue here. And you can see she knows exactly what to do. Just stand still, wait patiently until she's all undone, and then he will take the trap away. She's doing very well. So she can't see what he's doing, all she can do is hear and feel what she's doing. And at first, of course, she used to flinch if you touched her suddenly behind when she had the blinkers on, but she's got quite used to that now. And she will happily follow Peter now away. Good, that's lovely. What a confident, happy little pony. Now her lesson is over, so it's time for a little bit of fun. I always like to have a little play at the end of a session with her at Liberty, just so I can see how she feels about what we've been teaching her, and that we still have a nice connection together. See how I trot and she trots, when I walk she walks, and halts together. And off we go. So she will follow me with me on her right hand side, and then change to the other side, to the left, and she still sticks with me. She's got a lovely draw on her, and she comes and sticks to me again, stops when I stop. Good girl. She's such a sweet, friendly little pony. Well done, Tell.